Hey there, if you have ever struggled with shooting in a wide open field, I'm going to take you behind the scenes, show you an image that I shot in a wide open field, and tell you how to manage harsh light and obstacles in the background. Hey there, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Katelyn. This is a place where we like to empower photographers to build both profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you in on the behind the scenes of our day-to-day life. I'm taking you behind the image today. It's one of our favorite series. We take an image and then we take clips of me shooting the actual image, and I break down what I was thinking, what I would have changed, what was a win, and to kind of teach you through showing you this process. So this image that I'm showing you now, this was actually Ty's brother's wedding. It was beautiful. We shot these images right before sunset, and we were in a wide open field where there was no trees or anything really to block that bright sunset light. So sometimes you can shoot at sunset and the light is coming through the trees and it diffuses the light, and it's so easy. It's so easy to shoot when the light is diffused. When the light is not diffused, you have to be so particular about how you manage the light in order to get the look that you want. I mean, we're talking just like inches of rotation can change drastically your editing time, the amount of pop, contrast, how white the whites are, how dark the darks are. Literally, if you don't know how to manage the light in a scenario like this, you can end up with what you never intended. I'm also going to show you not just this image, but another image that I took literally seconds afterwards, just to show you the difference between what I can shoot quickly with the 28-70 2.0 RF lens. That's there because it looks really good. It looks so good. You would face, let's see, how are we going to do this to block the sun? Let's let Trevor face me. All right. Block that light. There you go. Oh, yep. And you're going to hold onto his arm again. Left hand's in the pocket for him. Perfect. Oh, look at you. That's so good. All you have to do, Alyssa, is turn your hips in towards him a little bit more. Pop in your right leg. There you go. You can do it even more than feels normal. And I'm going to change it up. Actually, right arm, Trevor, around her waist. So do you see what I did here? I don't know if you did. But let me enlighten you, for those of you who may be new to KJ All Access, or for those of you who may not have taken the KJ posing course. I am trying to tighten up her waistline a little bit. She is so tiny. She does not need a smaller waist. But what I need to do is to make her look as skinny as she looks in real life, if not skinnier. Like she doesn't. Okay, let me preface. I'm not trying to say she needs to look skinnier. I don't want to get emails about this. No, I don't ever think my clients need to be skinnier, but it is my job to make them look as flattering as possible. And when she was turning into him, she wasn't twisting her hips all the way, facing like belly button to his hip bone. And so it wasn't showing her from the thinnest angle. And then I realized, you know what, they're good at interacting. Let's just let him hold on to her. When he puts his arm around her waist, it cinches her in. It pulls her in. Visually, it pulls her in. The other thing that can make a client look even slimmer is having light kind of hit. See how that highlight is hitting her back, and almost if you just kind of squint, it makes it look like where the shadow starts is where the dip of her waistline is, when really, you know, that's just a kind of like a trick that the light's playing on her eyes. So anyway, yeah. Nuzzling in. You can actually come at me a little bit. And Trevor, you can put your forehead on her temple instead of your nose, okay? We're blocking that light. There you go. Gorgeous. Don't let her fall, but you can keep dipping her because it makes her laugh. She's like, Trevor, what are you doing? What are you doing? Both hands can go around her waist. You can kiss her. And if you want to, can you do a little shelf under the butt? Pick her up. Oh, you got this, girl. Now, I will say, the trick is once you get her under her butt, lift her up. You're going to scissor kick your feet so your dress kind of blows. You got it. You got it. Oh, we did this already. Yes. Oh my gosh, Sarah, kiss you too. You guys, just keep laughing at each other. Trevor, you're strong, right? You can hold this. Yes, I worked out so much. Oh, that is perfection. You can let her down. Okay, normally we have to do that 6 times. All right, so let's break this down just a little bit. There's a few things that were working really well in this image. First things first, one, I love that this guy and this guy lead your eyes towards the couple. It's really important to recognize where the horizon line's falling, right? It's not super ideal. It's right at their necks, but it's good that it's actually here and not here. I see a lot of photographers that will actually photograph and they set their clients up distance-wise from the horizon to where the horizon line is landing right at where the bride's head is, or right where the top of the head is, and it just looks a little off. Compositionally, it really looks off. So it's actually a win that we have a horizon line that's not hitting them right at the top of their heads, and that it actually dips down here. It kind of points you to them. Another cool thing about this is that we have layers of lines, and so whenever I'm shooting at in the rolling hills or in the mountains, this is one of my favorite things, is that not only do you get one compositional lead line, you get multiple ones. So we have one in the background. I actually have one with its cloud here a little bit. I have one here, and then I have one here, and then the shadow actually creates a few here. So everything is kind of pulling your eye towards the couple. So that's probably subconsciously why I actually shot these horizontal and I didn't shoot them vertically. Because you think about it vertically, like that would be really pretty, right? That would be really pretty. But all of these compositional lead lines work in the favor of a horizontal image, and that's probably why I compose this subconsciously. I don't think, when I'm shooting, I don't think to myself like, oh, look at all these layers of lead lines. I'm just going to shoot here. I think from an artistic perspective, one of my God-given abilities is to be able to know like, ooh, this just feels right. It looks good. When I come back to the image later, I realize, why did it look good? Why did I see these things? So I feel like it's a natural thing within me to be able to see this stuff. If you struggle with composition, you can learn this. You can learn to see composition and to see lead lines. It's not something that you either have or you don't have. You can learn how to find these type of lines and define this type of composition. So love that about this image. Another thing I love about this image is that right behind them, right there behind them, those are the white buildings that I said at the very beginning of the day that I wanted to hide with them. And I feel like I did a really good job hiding them with their bodies. Another thing to think through is, you probably heard me say, like, go ahead and scissor kick your feet. I want you to imagine if all of like her feet here were just gone and her legs were straight down. When legs are straight down in a pose like this, it makes it look so awkward. It kind of looks like he grabbed her and she doesn't want to be held up and she's just like a beanpole. Like, it just doesn't look right. So if you want it to look romantic, you want to look like those movies, you want it to look natural, you got to have the bride do a little scissor kick. And what that does is it provides a little extra curve and a little more visual interest with her dress. Flowers hanging over the back is important. You can't have it on the front. If she had it in this hand, it would just be covering up his face. Another thing to consider is that they had to have their faces touching, right? They had to either be kissing or nose to nose, forehead to forehead, because the light was so bright. Remember, it's not diffused, so it's directly hitting on the other side of their faces. And so if they weren't face to face, if they weren't touching or kissing or forehead to forehead, that light would kind of be all encompassing and would kind of attack his face, and that would be really hard for editing. So you'll also notice that the harsh light of the sun is hitting her back. You can see it hitting her back right there, but it's just barely kind of wrapping around her back. Any further, it would start to look like it was poor lighting conditions, right? She'd start to have really washed out arms because the light would be hitting too far around. So when I am shooting and I'm actually figuring out where I want the light to be, I'm paying attention to the light that I'm seeing on her. How far can I get that light right on her shoulder without it coming and creeping on her face? And placing myself in that position and paying attention to that very specific placement of light is how I can control how much pop and how much contrast I have. Because if I adjust it any more to the right, I'm going to get haze. If I adjust it any more to the left, I'm going to get spotty light on her skin. It's very, very delicate. I talk about this for hours in the KJ Lighting and Location course. Why? Because this is hard stuff. You got to train yourself to be able to see it. I just saw an engagement session recently, actually for one of our brides. She had like an engagement session before her engagement session. Bizarre, I know, but she did it and she was showing me pictures that she didn't like. And the photographer that did these portraits, she shot in a pretty location, but like the groom was kissing the bride's forehead, and from here up, the groom's face was so overexposed. And then the bride's face and the bottom of the groom's face was in the shade, not even at all. So that's something I'm trying to avoid here. One way that I avoid it is placement and my orientation from my couple to the sun. And another way that I do that is by pose. Pose can change lighting drastically. So this is one image from this kind of like quick little session of shooting that I loved, but I want to show you another image. This image was shot literally seconds later, right? And I don't even know if I included this on the episode. Like, I may have showed another one, but this image was shot literally just, I zoomed out with my 28-70 2.0 RF lens, and I shot this seconds later. And normally I would need to either shoot with a 35, or I'd have to really back up with my 50 millimeter in order to get this just seconds later. So it just shows you, like, if you're in a pinch, you're rushing, you're trying to get a lot done, this lens provides a really great resource to get a lot of different looks really quickly. But it was purposeful. It wasn't like I was shooting with it. I was like, zoom in, zoom out, just no control. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted that tight shot that I was just looking at with you that looks more like a 50 millimeter. And then I wanted a wide shot because this wide shot further emphasizes this shadow line, and it allows you to see even more of this composition that leads to them. It just kind of all culminates to point towards the couple. Now, something that is a win here, she pulled away from him, and you can see on his face he doesn't have that harsh light. She was perfectly placed to block that harsh light from his face here, which was awesome. So we still got the scissor kick. They look natural, they look in love, and you can kind of see that house peeking in the background, but overall it's not a distraction. So I just feel like this was a perfect culmination of good scouting on the front end of the day. I love it. When I find a location, I'm like, the sun should be there. Let's try to use this. A lot of times I scout at the beginning of a wedding day, and I never use those spots. So this was a win for scouting. It was a win for layers. It was a win for compositional lines, and it was a win for controlling light. If you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed seeing me shoot behind the scenes, I have literally 40 some episodes of me photographing weddings, portrait sessions, and you can watch all of it for free if you never have. You have to cram it all in though, because it's only a 5-day trial right now. So if you want to watch KJ All Access, KJ All Access is our membership where you can watch me shoot and learn from behind the scenes. You can do a 5-day free trial. If you want to just go ahead and sign up so you have ongoing access to get new content, you can do that as well. We have everything linked below. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, like, come back next time. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye. I say bye first.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ty.
Bye.
Bye. No, that's better.